Am I the a-hole for not answering the door when my ex's mom showed up at my apartment unannounced? This happened a couple of years ago, but I was talking about crazy mother-in-law stories with a friend, and she thinks I was an a-hole. I have sole custody of my children. My ex and his family live about a 9-hour drive from me. One day at around 9 and there was knocking on my bedroom window. I peek through the bottom of the blinds and just see women's sneakers. So I peek higher and make eye contact with my ex's mom. All I can think is, what the F? The apartments where I live are not gated, so anybody can drive onto the property, just not go in buildings without a key. Which means ex's mom couldn't knock on my door because she couldn't enter my building. Anyway, now that she's seen me, I change and go see why she's there. Only reason why she has my address is because a few months back she asked to mail some stuff for the kids and I dumbly gave her my address. She tells me she was in the neighborhood. I asked her why she didn't call me before arriving and she said it was a last-minute decision. I let her in and she sees the kids for a bit. When she leaves, I tell her next time she needs to give me a heads up before arriving. And I'm not talking 10 minutes before. I need at least a 1-week notice. So this is where I might be the a-hole. About 4 months later, she pulls this stunt again. When I hear the tapping on my window, I know exactly who it is. I don't bother looking out the window. She starts calling me. After the 5th call, I answer. She tells me to open up because she wants to see the kids. I'm like, what? I'm not even home. Why she didn't tell me she was coming? I'm 45 minutes away visiting my dad with the kids. She demands dad's address. I refuse to give it to her. I tell her I have no idea when I will be home. Yes, complete lie. Anyway, she doesn't believe me. She thinks I'm home. Again says it was a last-minute decision. I hang up on her. I'm getting texts from ex demanding I let his mom see the kids. I tell him what I told her, I'm not home. Imagine my surprise when I hear the police banging on my door a few minutes later. I don't answer. I get a call from a random number. The police officer. He is there to perform a wellness check because ex's mom hasn't heard from me in 3 days and she's extremely worried. Also, according to him, it is illegal not to answer the door when a police officer knocks. I tell him she is lying. I just spoke to her on the phone. She showed up unannounced. I made it clear to her not to do that. And I am out with family and I don't need to come back just because she showed up unannounced. She is ex's mom and I don't have to talk to her. After that phone call, I get a text from ex calling me an a-hole and how hard would it have been to let his mom see the kids when she drove all the way there just to see them. I want to make it clear I don't mind her visiting. I don't mind her being around my kids. But I can't stand her showing up unannounced and demanding to see my kids like that. It was like she was on a weird power trip. Not the a-hole. Woman weaponized the police against you. Woman no longer gets any part of your life. Next time she tries anything, just use the phrase, "You called the police on me." When she deflects, "You lied to the police." Just keep banging on some version of that. Ex gets the same story. "She called the police on me and lied to them. She is dangerous." Edit. Wow, that blew up. Thank you so much for the award. She was on a weird power trip. Same with your ex. The whole calling the police thing reaffirmed that. You're not the a-hole. Best to keep away from ex and his insane mother. If you can, I would consider moving so she no longer knows where you live. Any visitation your ex has can be in a neutral place. If she drove all this way just to see them, then she knew 9 hours before arriving last night that she would be here. So she could have dropped me a courtesy text, and I could have saved her the trip by telling her that I was not prepared to host. If she doesn't have enough respect or consideration for me to do so much as send a text, why should I have the respect or consideration for her to spend my time hosting her at my home? Next time, she can give me notice in advance like I told her. And if she doesn't, then I am going to change my terms and simply tell her that she is not allowed in my home at all. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not stocking the fridge for my husband after his business trip? My husband went out of the country for a business trip and returned home over the weekend. I was out of town visiting friends when he returned. His gripe was that he was left with no food. For context, I do the majority of the grocery shopping 90 by 10 and he does his share of other chores at sea. I admit, there was not a refrigerator full of fresh food because I did not go to the store that week. However, I can attest there was a freezer with several meals and a pantry with food that could have been prepared. Perhaps not what he was hoping for, but there were some options. Also, we live in a major city with plenty of grocery stores and restaurants within walking distance. Again, not ideal after a red-eye international flight, but options. At first it wasn't a big deal, more of a joke. But when he repeatedly made jabs at me about it, I stood up for myself and now it's a full-blown argument. We are both stubborn people. I can acknowledge that it would have been nice if I had stocked the fridge upon his return from the trip. However, I work a full-time job myself, and I see it as we are both capable adults at providing food for ourselves when the other is busy. I've got to know, am I the a-hole in this situation? If only men had access to the family money and allowed to go to grocery stores. I surely hope he did not starve to death. Not the a-hole. What got me was the restaurants and grocery stores within walking distance. He literally didn't even have to get the car out to get something to eat. Besides the fact that there was food in the freezer and pantry, his reaction is just over the top. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he should bath his own daughter? So I F19 have two sisters, but only one is important to this. So my sister, let's call her a F18 but cognitively 9, has been severely disabled since birth. She was born with a super duper rare defect in her brain, and one of the many consequences of that is poor motor skills, which make it impossible for her to bath herself, among other things. My dad M51 has consistently refused to bath her since she hit around 13 because he says it's illegal. She had medical intervention to start puberty about a year ago cause she doesn't produce the hormones, so it wasn't a puberty thing, and has told me that. As her older sister, it's my job. Now, I doesn't care about this because I'm the only person who's ever actually helps her with anything. But I don't think it should be my job, and only my job seeing as I plan to move out as soon as I can find a stable income, hopefully in the next 6 months for my own health reasons. As soon as I realized her reliance on me, I started trying to reverse it. But that's difficult when you're expected to do all the caretaking. Ever since he started brushing this job off onto me, I've told him he shouldn't sexualize bathing his disabled daughter. But he just turns it around onto me and tells me he can't because she has boobs, and the courts disagree with you. I don't want this to be another thing that I will be left to figure out all on her own. Am I wrong for not wanting to bath her? Edit. I should add, my mom is in the picture. But she goes out with friends some nights, and she likes visiting her family there many provinces away. Another edit. A few PPL have been confused about the cognitively 9-bit and taken that to mean it's just a mental delay. But 'tis not. She is missing part of her brain, and other parts are damaged. She has impaired vision, speech, and movement as well as extremely low muscle tone. Also, I'm in Canada. Another edit. I worded the thing about my mother absolutely atrociously. Yay autism. To clarify, my mother does the bathing when she is home, however she is home about 80% of the time, and still needs baths in that extra 20%. Example. My mother is the only person who can take care of my 9 and 4-year-old cousins while their mother is on a work trip. And so I was in charge of bathing this morning. She doesn't go out willy-nilly. She goes to her sports things 2 or 3 times a week, and goes out for dinner with her friends a few times per month. She does suck, but not cause of this. She sucks for other, unrelated reasons. Another edit for the PPL saying to get an at-home nurse. That's the future plan. But my parents haven't. Our family is so perfect and nothing is wrong, and we're so loving and the ideal suburban family persona that would most definitely make that impossible. The endgame plan is a group home with 24/7 nursing staff, but they'd never let in a home health nurse. You were already not the a-hole, but the fact that you say your mom is also in the picture but has her own life is double not the a-hole. I think the word parentification gets thrown around too much, but this is a clear example. Please save every bit of money you can and move out preferably far away from your negligent and irresponsible parents. Neither of them should have any life that doesn't involve ensuring adequate care for their children is met first. Opie replies, the end goal is for me and my partner to move halfway across the country so that we're closer to both of our extended families and we never need to risk running into parents in public. Ask him if it will be sexual when he's 90 and you're bathing him. It's a family member who occupationally needs help. It's not sexual, it's human hygiene. I understand why he's uncomfortable, but your dad either needs to put that aside and accept this as part of taking care of his child or hire a carer now that you're ready to leave the nest. Opie replies, trust me, I will not be the one bathing him when he's 90. Not only do I not want to keep contact for that long, but also my health condition is degenerative, so I'll be bedbound. Next story. Am I the a-hole for walking out after my relatives kept pressuring me to misuse my work access for family favors? So last night we had a family dinner. My uncle asked me to pull some data for his marketing team since I'm working for an e-commerce company. Also, my aunt persists me to submit a referral for her boyfriend's son. I said the role needs relevant experience, and I will not lie. I told relatives I would not use my job access for any personal favors. I said no data, no internal documents, no priority referrals. Somehow, they also started listing items to buy with my employee discount. I explained policy, conflict rules, and audit trails. Moreover, I showed the code of conduct section on my phone. They told me that nobody gets caught and I should help them. That dinner was too over for me, so I left the restaurant. They seem to not get my point, but I will still follow the rules. And I will not attend events where pressure is applied because my job is not a family vending machine. I don't like people ask me to break policy since I want to respect my limits and not lose the invitation. Not the a-hole. Doing what they want is a fast way to lose that job, whatever it may be. Opie replies, following their demands would be a career-ending move for me. I'm sticking to the rules. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my 4-year-old daughter to join a soccer team simply because I don't want to get up early every Saturday? My husband has said he thinks I'm being selfish, and I am. But I am being strategic here. I'm a mom of 2, 4, and under. Currently 5 months pregnant. I'm a kindergarten teacher, and I have narcolepsy. So needless to say, I'm tired all the time. Saturday is the one day in my week where there are no set plans, and I like it that way. Why do I need to ruin the one day I get to choose what I want to do? Just so my 4-year-old, who probably won't know what she is missing, can go play a sport she probably isn't ready to play anyway. She has years to pick up a hobby/extracurricular. I just don't see the point right now other than to stress me out even more than I already am. Point blank, I'm just tired and don't want to, so I can't even say it's not selfish, but we are allowed to be selfish on some things, and I feel justified because I'm at my personal capacity. My husband won't even be able to help with every game because he sometimes works weekend, so no, I'm not interested in putting my kids in sports right now because I will likely flake on those days he works. Also, we live in a very hot state. I have zero interest in spending more time outside than I have to. My husband's reasoning is he wants her to be athletic and mostly that she will make friends and have fun socializing. I'd rather help her socialize through play dates, not a weekly commitment to be on a team. My in-laws have made it clear they agree that it would be good for her, and I'm being unfair. My family thinks it's not that important right now at 4, but say she would have fun. So what do you think? Am I the a-hole? Update. My daughter has been enrolled in soccer. Believe it or not, I actually have a very supportive village, including my in-laws and husband. Maybe I'm selfish, but it is because I know if I burn out, I will not be a good mother, teacher, wife, or person. Lol. Everyone needs rest and time for themselves. If that makes me selfish, then oh well, I'm unashamedly selfish. I love my children more than anything in the world, but I have needs too, and they need to understand others have needs too. It's a good thing to say no sometimes. I also clean house on Saturdays and know if I get up and leave the house early, I will find other things in town to do and never come home to clean. My children need a clean home to live in more than extracurricular activities. However, I am giving this a try and will continue letting her do soccer if she likes it and if it works for the whole family. If the in-laws think soccer is so important, they can volunteer to drive her to and from her games plus practices. Problem solved. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. If your husband or in-laws think it's that important, they can take her. I'm sure she'd have fun and it'd help her learn instruction and structured play, which is great. But she'll be better off having a mom who's as rested as possible with 2 small children and a pregnancy. I have 2 under 3, and just being pregnant with 1 toddler was like living in zombie mode for 9 months. Can't imagine another one in the mix. Take care of yourself so that you can give your babies the best version of you. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel our posts.